Hey, good morning. Good morning. Happy Wednesday, and good morning to all the lady bosses here in the collective community. Welcome. As you're rolling in here, say hello. Tell me where you're tuning in from. Oh my goodness, it's going to be such a good show today. I'm so excited about this because it's so needed for all of us entrepreneurs out there. I already see you rolling in here. We're also live on Instagram. So hello to everyone on Instagram as well. All right, my goodness. So as you're rolling in, again, say hello, where you're tuning in from. If you're catching the show today live, give me a hashtag live. If you're catching the replay, give me a hashtag replay. That just kind of gauges me when I go back through to kind of see, if the time of day that I'm doing these shows and everything works for everybody, right? Because I love it when you can catch us live because it's so much fun. It's just so engaging when we're live and we can ask all the questions. And I really hope that you did come prepared with your questions today because, as entrepreneurs, we really, we need mentors. We need go-to people. We need the experts that we can go and ask questions to, right? And bounce ideas off and things like that. So these lives are so important when I'm bringing on these guest experts, because they're here to help us. And it's invaluable, really. So, all right, I see some comments here. Let me see who we've got. From Hickory, North Carolina, live. Oh my goodness. Hello. Good morning. And good morning to you. All right. Awesome. Very good. So, again, now, if you're new to my page, or if you're new to my community, well, first of all, let me introduce myself. My name is Jodi Marvin. I am an operations manager, and I am also a certified business strategist. And I train naturally organized women to build virtual assistant businesses that they love from home. How cool is that? And I just love it. I love what I do. I'm so passionate about it. And I'm so glad that you guys are here today. So keep on rolling in. All right. So yes, I see someone else here. Awesome. So today what we're going to do is, and by the way, type hashtag new if you're new to my page, because I'd love to reach out, get to know you, and just kind of connect with like-minded women. Alrighty, so today we are tackling a topic that it's not just close to my heart, but really it's fundamentally crucial for every entrepreneur out there, right? It's just understanding and managing business finances. Sometimes people are like, no, I don't want to do it, right? But, it's true that we need to be on top of this, right? So I actually chose this topic because, in my journey of supporting and empowering women entrepreneurs, I've noticed, I really have, how often we, all of us, me included sometimes, shy away from the numbers game, right? So whether you're starting a new business, you might be scaling up, or even if you're running a successful venture now, knowing your numbers it's not just important, it's just essential, right? So it's the backbone of making informed decisions, driving your growth. It's so important for growth and really ensuring the long-term success of your business. And, this is especially crucial for virtual assistants who, they not only manage their own finances, but they often assist clients with their finances as well, right? So that's like a double whammy. So hello from Nova Scotia. Oh my goodness. Hello. It's great to have you here. Oh my goodness. Oh, and I see Emily and Lucy. Hey, Lucy from over on Instagram. It's so good to have you all here. Thank you for tuning in because this is going to be such a great episode today, you guys. So we were just talking about the virtual assistant world. Oh, from Phoenix. Hi, hey, Lucy from Phoenix. Welcome. All right. So as virtual assistants, a lot of times we're doing our own bookkeeping. We're doing bookkeeping for other people. So this is so crucial for us that are in those positions, right? So this is what we want to do. Let's demystify the world of business finances and turn what might be like a kind of like a challenge into maybe one of our greatest strengths, right? Because it's doable. So to guide us through this crucial topic, I'm really super excited to introduce our guest, Amy Sedatole. Amy Sedatole. And I asked her how to pronounce her last name, and I remembered it. Amy Sedatole. Amy is a proud graduate of Baylor University with a BBA in accounting. And Amy is not just a CPA. She is a seasoned expert with over 30 years of experience in her field. And her journey began with Ernst & Young in Dallas right after her college graduation in 1994. And since then, she has navigated various corporate roles across different industries. In 2016, Amy embarked on an entrepreneurial venture, opening her own CPA firm. How huge is that? And her partnership that she formed in 2017 has been a game changer, offering clients comprehensive accounting experiences. And Amy's mission is to help service-based business owners, just like us, me and you, right? Streamline their finances. And that's what we need help with. We really do. And it really allows us to focus on what we love most, which is growing our business. Yes, it's huge. Go, Amy. Now, Amy's expertise is invaluable for anyone looking to gain confidence in managing their business finances. So without further ado, let's welcome Amy to the virtual stage.
Good morning.
Welcome. Good morning to you. Happy Wednesday. Thank you so much for being here. It's great to have you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm excited to be here.
Yeah. And we are so happy to have you be here because, sometimes talking numbers is like, I want to avoid it, the bookkeeping thing. And I'm just going to say sometimes as a business owner myself, sometimes my bookkeeping is the last thing to be done at the end of the day, right? Or at the end of the week or month or whatever you want to call it. But yeah, so this is such a crucial topic. So let's get right into it. And you know what? First of all, let's just, why don't you just tell us about yourself a little bit, Amy?
You gave a great introduction. Thank you so much. It makes me sound really good. No, I am a wife to Dwayne. We have been married, it'll be 30 years in August. I have 2 grown kids, so I'm an empty nester. My oldest son graduated from Clemson and lives in Charlotte and works there. And then I have a 21-year-old son who is wrapping up his junior year at Auburn. So I'm not a fan of empty nesting. I don't like my boys being far away. But we're navigating that new journey in our life. We're in the process of about to close on a new house we built. I know, I'm so excited. We live just north of Dallas right now, and we actually sold our house a couple of years ago and are wrapping up a new build on about 2.5 acres where the town, I think, has more cows than people. And I'm pretty excited about that. So,
well, I would be excited too. And that just sounds lovely with the cows and the acreage and just a home build, on its own, right?
Yes.
I've been through a home build and it's not always an easy process. So good for you. That's exciting.
Yes.
And it's so exciting that you're doing it after, being an empty nester. How cool is that?
Yeah, we didn't need to be in the house in the school district that we were in anymore. And it's just gotten so busy, and we said, we're done. And we just want a little bit more peace and quiet. So we are moving in the middle of nowhere where sometimes you have to stop your car because there are actual chickens crossing the road.
Yeah. Well, that sounds pretty cool to me. Yes. It sounds like the middle of nowhere and just peaceful.
Yes,
so that's
absolutely.
Awesome. Great. Well, thank you so much for sharing a little bit about yourself. And let's get into the questions here. Let's get into the nitty gritty and let's talk about, some things that some of us as entrepreneurs really face. And I see Jessica has joined us from Instagram. Hello, Jessica. Thank you for joining. And again, you guys, before I hop into the questions with Amy here, at the end, you're going to have an opportunity for some Q&A. So if you have some questions about finances, whatever, about your business finances, make sure that you ask them here, okay? Because Amy is here. Let's pick her brain while we have her here, okay? Alrighty. So the first thing that I want to really talk about, Amy, is some of the common financial challenges that new entrepreneurs face. I'm sure that you've seen this many a time, right? So I'm wondering if you can just kind of go over what is the most common financial challenge that you have seen entrepreneurs face, and how can they overcome those?
So I think one of the things that we see often is just cash flow, right in that very beginning. You may have decided on purpose to be an entrepreneur. I didn't decide on purpose. I was let go from my job in 2016. And really just at that point in time decided that I was tired of the rat race. I was tired of being on the tollway for an hour each way every day. And I was going to make a go at this entrepreneurship journey. So I didn't have, savings built up where I could, rely on that while I built my book of business. So, and I don't think that's uncommon for a lot of entrepreneurs that we see, is that they really don't either have enough cash at the very beginning, or they don't understand how the cash flows, and so they tend to commingle their business and their personal expenses at the same time, which makes it very difficult. The IRS is not a fan of commingling business and personal, transactions. And I think other things are just finding those trusted partners that you will need from the very beginning, not waiting. But definitely the financial challenge is the cash flow issue. And one of the things that I see a lot of times is that entrepreneurs don't pay themselves first. And so you built this business to have time freedom, to make money. I mean that's what you do, and yet you are always paying yourself last. Or I see people, just not pay themselves at all. Why did you get into business to begin with?
Exactly.
And so those are some common challenges that we kind of run into sometimes on the financial side.
Yeah, for sure. And I can so relate to that, because way back when I first started into the world of, it was virtual assistants back then. And of course it grew to, operations management and things like that. But back then when I first started, it was a very odd transition for me, because I went from having a stable paycheck and then finding clients and, not having that you don't get that direct deposit every week or every biweekly, whatever. And
so
it was
how do you budget?
Exactly.
How do you budget now when it's not
exactly
when it's not static?
Yes.
Yes. It's a very interesting transition.
Very, very interesting and very, very awkward, and it wasn't the best feels at that time. I remember it's like, oh, how do I do this? Right. And, eventually, learning as I went, I think I kind of waited too long to get some professional advice on that though. So, I would highly recommend that, new entrepreneurs get that, nip that right in the bud right away. But I finally found my way where I actually I do get paid first. I do get paid first now. It wasn't so in the beginning, but there is a way that you can make sure that you get paid first if you plan properly. Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And it is tough in the beginning too, because there might not even be any cash flow, right?
Absolutely.
Usually there's not. I mean, unless you are, already have clients or something that you're whatever, that maybe had a side hustle. But if you're say that you're going full force into a full-time business, that can be the tough part. So even maybe finding funding, or you're just brainstorming or finding ways, but even really planning out, right? Being strategic about what your cash flow could look like, or what you want, right?
Absolutely. And having the budget, reverse engineering, knowing how many clients that you need to have in order to pay your bills, knowing what your cash flow can, do I charge everybody at the first of the month? Do I charge some people at the first of the month and some people at the 15th of the month? Just having a plan in place. And like I said, I didn't have a plan in place. Right. There was no plan. And so, I think that helps me a lot in talking to entrepreneurs to know what not to do, because of the experiences that, I kind of went through. Going, don't do it like, don't do it like I did it.
Don't do what I did. All right. Yeah, exactly.
Kind of like you talk to your kids, don't do what I did, trying to help you navigate around my mistakes.
Yeah, exactly. But what's nice about today is just the world, the World Wide Web, being virtual, having all of these opportunities. You can Google things, you can take classes, you can reach out to people. You have things like this Q&A here, where you can learn. And I kind of wish that, going back to 2010, when I went to the good old clerk's office here in my county, and I filed my DBA, I wish that I would have had some kind of support system like that. So it's so important to have this now, right? And the ability to have these these chats and things like that. So a little bit different of a world. So, and then,
Yes.
it's good. Yeah. Technology can be our friend, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So, all right. So now let's talk about kind of maybe demystifying the setup process, right? So we want to make sure that as especially as new entrepreneurs, and maybe even entrepreneurs who are established, but they don't have that, like a proper bookkeeping system
Right.
set in place or whatever.
Right.
So, can you just kind of break down what the process is of setting it up, a proper bookkeeping system is for a small business, especially from the beginning?
So from the beginning, I obviously, my background would highly suggest that you have a bookkeeper or an accountant set it up for you. Whether or not that means you have them in the beginning do your monthly bookkeeping, you are going to need bookkeeping.
Yeah.
Period.
You can't
Whether or
avoid it.
not you hire somebody or you do it yourself, you have to have that plan in place. So if you're strapped for cash, in the very beginning, at least have that person, that knowledgeable person, set up the system, set up your chart of accounts, set up the way that you want your books to look. Different industries have different different ways of looking at things. Obviously, if you sell a product, you might have income, but you might have a cost of goods sold, something that you purchase to resell.
Yeah.
And then you would have all your operating expenses. If you're a service-based business, you're not going to have that cost of goods sold.
Right.
You're going to have, your other expenses. So different businesses, there's not one size fits all. And even if you have that person just set up your books from the very beginning and maybe do a couple of hours of tutoring, where you just kind of know how you're, how to put things in. All of my clients use QuickBooks Online. It is the most popular accounting software out there. And then, I've got some clients that still want to do kind of their own thing, but then I review them on a quarterly basis.
Okay.
Just to make sure that, things are going the way they should be going, things are getting reconciled, things are getting categorized correctly, so that at the end of the year, when they take it to their tax accountant, that means that the books are ready to go. You don't have to pay your tax accountant to then make any adjustments, to make any, entries that, or even review the books if you've got somebody already doing it. So there is a way at the very beginning, like we talked about the cash flow, for you to do it yourself. What I found in a lot of businesses is that, obviously a lot of entrepreneurs think of accounting as an expense, and it is an expense. But it also, so they don't want to do it because they're strapped for cash flow. They want to do it themselves. But there's not a lot of lawyers that went to school and took accounting. And there's not a lot of entrepreneurs that sell a product that took, accounting. There's not a lot of interior decorators that took accounting. And so they get into it in 2 or 3 years and they realize they don't really know what they're doing. And that's through no fault of their own.
No, it's not right.
We are all gifted differently.
Yes,
I would never in a million years try to decorate my own house. It just is, it's not. So, I always, and you not thinking of it as an expense, I would highly encourage everybody to go through your day and how much do you charge for a project? How much do you charge per hour to do what it is that you do? And so how much time are you spending during the week and on the weekend doing things that don't relate to your business, like your accounting? It's 4 or 5 hours a week and you charge $100 an hour. That's $400 or $500 that you're not using to build those hours that you're not using to build your business. So you're actually losing money by not having your accountant just do it for you.
Yeah. It's costing you.
It is costing you. It's costing you time networking. It's costing you time performing customer service things. It's costing you time marketing. It's costing you time. And so, if you're spending, like I said, 4 or 5 hours a week and you charge $100 an hour, I'm cheaper.
Yeah.
than $2,000 a month.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. And maybe doing like a little analysis in the beginning, because some of this is mindset. I'm seeing the
Oh,
mindset
absolutely.
is breaking through some of those mindset barriers, because you know what, sometimes, sometimes you have to spend some money in business.
Oh, and I'm guilty. I'm
Oh
the worst
yeah.
delegator on the face of the planet, and
Yep.
and because I want to do it. Well, I'm also an accountant, and we have certain personality traits, and so one of them is a control issue, and I know that about myself. And so I have a very hard time delegating. And over the last month or so, 2 or 3 months, I have actually gotten to a point where I've said, I need to do A, B, and C. I don't like B and C. I'm going to outsource that myself because it is taking up too much of my time. I don't like doing it. I'm not an expert in it. Why am I?
Yeah.
Wasting my time on these things. And I definitely think it's an education process on my part to entrepreneurs on what I can bring to the table, how I can save them time and money.
Oh yeah.
And then, just practicing what I preach.
Yeah, for sure.
The same thing.
For sure. And I think that goes for all of us. And honestly, just spreading the awareness that they don't have to do that themselves, right? That there are bookkeeping services out there. You don't have to go with a full bookkeeping plan. You can have quarterly reviews. You can have somebody set it up.
And we really tailor our packages to the individual. Now, I have certain tier pricing, but if somebody doesn't need something in that tier, or they need something else, or they just want to start small and they don't want to do everything all at one time, we don't, from our business perspective, we don't require you to do everything or nothing. We really try to be very conscious of where your cash flow is. What do you need? And most of the time, what ends up happening, if you start small, you end up realizing, okay, I really don't want to do any of this. And they end up handing it over. And I think a lot of it has to do with finding that trusted partner that we talked about in the beginning. It's very difficult, I think, in the beginning for you to say, I'm going to hand over my money to someone else and trust that they're going to be a partner with me in building my business. And so it's developing that relationship from the beginning with our clients, for them to understand we have their best interests at heart. That's one of the things I love about my job is I love seeing people win. So whatever part I can do, however small it be, to see somebody else win in their business is just, I'm grateful for that.
Yeah. And one thing that comes to mind right now too, is that sometimes when we're in our own books and we're doing that ourselves, first of all, we're stressed out. We're trying to do all the things as entrepreneurs. Having that second set of eyes on there to see something that maybe you don't see, that either you're missing, or you could, I don't know, you could take tax advantages or write-offs, or maybe even other things, like maybe potentials for different revenue, or, whatever ideas, just so many benefits to that. And I did want to mention, because you said when it comes tax time, you don't want your accountant or your tax professional to have to do a bookkeeping review or whatever, review your books, because they're going to charge you.
Absolutely.
So you don't want to, and I just pictured somebody walking up to them with a shoebox, right?
Luckily, we don't get too many shoeboxes anymore.
Well, that's good.
I don't, but there's still people that'll say, and God love you for those that love Excel, because I do love a good spreadsheet, but a good spreadsheet is not, it's not time efficient to put your books just in a spreadsheet.
I mean,
add up all your receipts and everything, because there's too much room for human error.
There is. And you know what? It works until it doesn't work anymore. Like maybe in the very beginning, when you're first starting out, and say that you do have a spreadsheet, because I have seen it, but it was very, very simple, income, expenses, and they didn't have tons of, transactions coming in and out. But once you get to that certain point, when you do, oh my goodness gracious, to have it in a spreadsheet is kind of doing yourself a disservice, right?
Right.
But I always do say, though, at least do something in the beginning.
Oh, absolutely.
If it's just that. But yeah, so yeah, trusted partners are yeah, so important as in the world of your finances, and having a bookkeeper that can be your go-to, really. So for sure. Yeah, so now let's talk about how important is it for all of us, all these ladies here? We all have our businesses. And good morning, Heidi joined us. Good morning, Heidi. Thank you for being here. And Kayla over on Instagram. Hi, Kayla. Thank you for joining. How important is it for all of us entrepreneurs here? We're business owners. Is it important for us to understand basic accounting principles, in your opinion?
I think it's important for you to know where your money is coming from and where it's going.
Okay.
I don't know if necessarily you need to know basic accounting principles.
Okay.
I, in my business, have monthly meetings with my clients. So after I get through, doing all of their bank reconciliations and putting all of their income and expenses in the right places, then I offer a 30-minute free phone call to go over your books with you, so that if you have questions at that time, you can ask me. If you have, concerns about where things look, or something just doesn't look right, we can go over it at that time.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Do you need to know that, what depreciation and how long you should depreciate a certain asset, or, the fact that, one of the things that we do with our businesses that own automobiles, that your monthly note should be split between principal and interest, because you get a credit on your tax return for interest expense. Those are the things that you hire an expert for, so that those are being done correctly and you're getting the maximum tax deduction that you can. But other than that, I don't think it's important. I don't think I would put a huge emphasis on it. Like I said, I think you should know where your money's coming from and where it's going.
For sure. Yeah.
That doesn't require an accounting degree.
Right. Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly with that. And really, and this, I think I put this in the title, I can't remember, but knowing your numbers.
Mm-hmm.
And really, it's not, knowing your numbers isn't that difficult, especially if you have a trusted partner, right? Because you just need to know what's going in and coming out, right?
Right.
Yeah, those are like those are the two numbers that you need to really keep an eye on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, mm-hmm. For sure. So I love that. See, you don't need to be, you don't have to know it all, right? Just those two areas. I mean, and just getting a grip on what your expenses are, because like a lot of times we have all these subscriptions, we have these expenses that we're not even aware of what's going on, right?
Well, that's why one of the reports that I usually, that is, I think, a crucial and a key report that I do is a rolling 12 months. So a rolling 12-month income statement, so that you can see you spent $3,000 on marketing this month, but then the next month you spent 10.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. What did you, and then the next month you spent 2, and then the next month you spent. So it's kind of getting an idea month to month. What are you doing? Can you spread that out differently from month to month? Did you accidentally get charged double?
Exactly. Yes. And that's what
or you paid double on accident. Did you pay an invoice twice and you didn't catch it? So that, to me, you obviously want to know where you are this year over last year. That's another report that I usually run. But that 12-month rolling income statement, where you're looking at month to month to see what your expenses were, and whether or not you were way up in marketing, whether or not you were way up in, you went to Office Depot one too many times this month. whether or not you accidentally used your personal card instead of, or your business card for personal expenses, and I need to put it somewhere else. Those are the things that we kind of go over in that month-to-month income statement, which I think is one of the ways, the key ways for you to know where your money is. And when we set up your original chart of accounts, what do you want to see? Do you want to, I had a client this week that they have quarterly meetings with some of their board members, and he doesn't know what goes into the marketing account. So he wants the marketing account to have sub accounts with the big vendors in them, so he can see month to month, how much did we spend with this vendor? How much did we spend with this vendor? So it's really setting it up so that it gives you the best information for you to make business decisions. And we can do that in a numerous, ways. What important things do you want to see?
Mm-hmm.
And then we set it up we just set it up that way from the very beginning.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And what I like about that too, Amy, is that it's almost like an accountability partner, because
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm not going to lie. There have been times when I haven't even looked at my books for a month or two, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
So to actually be in there looking at them, again, you just talked about paying double on something, mm-hmm. or you went to Office Depot too many times, or whatever the case may be. Yeah. So yeah, the accountability piece, I'd like that. That's what comes to mind as far as, having
right.
the partner, just because of the review alone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. So can you give us some effective strategies for how we can manage our cash flow in the very early stages of a business?
I think one of the things we talked about is pay yourself first. You
Mm-hmm.
may not think that you have the cash flow, but if you don't do it from the very beginning, you won't do it a year from now. You're always going to find something else
mm-hmm.
to do. And one of the great books that I've read, and it's funny because in the first part of the book, he is very adamant that not a lot of accountants like this particular way of doing things. I think it's genius, and it's called Profit First. And I think I told you earlier, if anybody at the end wants to chat with me or wants to do any kind of monthly working with me, I'm actually going to gift this book called Profit First.
Awesome.
And it really talks about I don't use all of it. I take bits and pieces of it because he says open up 5 bank accounts, which I think is a little too many. But how important it is to have one bank account that you put a percentage aside, and that's your pay. Because then what's left over is what you will then use to pay your expenses. And so there's, whether or not you implement some of these ideas, or whether or not you get a line of credit at your bank, or grants are out there. They're grant writers that if you have a certain niche that you're working in that maybe you can get a grant for, there's grant writers out there for certain industries. I would never suggest getting a QuickBooks loan, or, some of those other fly-by-night kind of loan people, because they charge an enormous amount of interest. But there are ways to look at small business loans. The Small Business Administration has loans. If you were in business before and you had the EIDL or the PPP, when we were doing all of the restrictions on our business a couple of years ago, those were great, no interest or very, very low interest loans. So take advantage of the Small Business Administration. They usually have lower interest rates.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I really love this. And I love the grant writer piece. I actually have a dear friend and business bestie who is in the beginning stages, and she's looking into the grant writing thing. So I love that you mentioned that. And as far as grant writers go, does that go for any industry, Amy?
I have not had a client who's never needed a grant.
Okay.
I've not ever needed to use one.
Okay.
I do know, like, if you have a nonprofit, that's probably a huge industry that grants can be used for.
Okay. Interesting. Awesome. All right. Now let's talk about the lovely season that we're in right now, which is tax season.
This is the season everybody starts to stress out because, oh my gosh, they have their books are not ready for their tax account.
Exactly. You know what? I usually dread tax season. I it's just something that I do not look forward to. And you said the word stress, but I'm going to say that word again. So can you actually share some tips for us ladies here, as entrepreneurs, how we can all prepare for tax season without the stress?
Without the stress.
Yes.
Exactly. It's stay on top of it. What I think a lot of people do is they work Monday through Friday, doing all of their things, selling their products, selling their service, doing their networking groups, doing their customer service, making sure their clients are pleased and happy. And then they get to Saturday and they open up their QuickBooks and, 2 weeks have gone by and they realize they have, 200 or 300 transactions that they need to categorize. And they look at it and they go, I hate this. I hate numbers. I hate accounting. I hate whatever. And they close it. And then they wait another week. And then they come back next Saturday and they open it up again. And they go, oh God, accounting did not get any better since last Saturday.
It doesn't get much better, does it? Yeah.
In fact, it gets much worse after a while.
For sure.
It's really staying on top of things. And what a lot of people also don't realize as entrepreneurs is because they don't have, that background is even if you stay on top of it, just like, I don't know how old older your group is. We used to have to balance our checkbook.
I remember.
You have to balance your bank account in your business.
Yeah, you do.
So, even if you are going through and you're categorizing everything and you're putting it in the buckets that you think they go to, you still also have to reconcile the bank account. You still also have to reconcile the credit card charges because QuickBooks or whatever software you use is still a tool, and sometimes a tool that glitches.
Yes.
And so the way I have my clients set up is your bank account syncs with QuickBooks and it pulls everything over, theoretically.
Yeah.
So if you are doing your bank reconciliations at the end of the month, you are ensuring that everything that went through your bank account or your credit card account is being accounted for. Right. So that's just another step. And a lot of times people will come to me at the end of the year and go, well, my books are done. And I'll go and I'll look at them. And I'm like, well, that's great. You've put everything in there, but you haven't reconciled in 2 years. And then I go to reconcile it and you realize QuickBooks glitched for 2 weeks. And now you've got to manually input things for 2 weeks in June, or something like that. So it's just a missed step that people don't realize that you have to do. So it's really just staying on top of it, getting it done on a monthly basis, paying somebody else to do it on a monthly basis. Because you just don't like it. And then, at the end of the year tax season, you just print a balance sheet and an income statement out and you hand it to your tax CPA and they go, oh my gosh, you're like the best client ever.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. It makes their lives so much easier. It's less money for you because you've prepared it.
They are going to charge quite a bit more.
Oh,
they're going to charge they're going to charge quite a bit more to do a whole year.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to think about it. You may have to do a whole year. And tax season, what some entrepreneurs don't realize is depending on what tax structure you have, your return may or may not be due April the 15th. It's due March the 15th. Anybody that is in a partnership, anybody that is taxed as an S Corp, anybody that's taxed as a C Corp, those are all due March the 15th. So you have less time than you think you do. If you, and March 15th comes very quickly to attack CPA. And so if you're not, and my business partner, you actually have to have your books to her at least 3 weeks before the deadline, or it's just not, you will have to be on, and you can get an extension just like you do with your personal return. So think about it. Now you've got January and you've got part of February before your books are due to your tax accountant in order to file your return by March the 15th.
Yeah.
If you have not stayed on top of it all year long.
Talk about stressful.
That's a lot of stress. You're already stressed. Yeah. You're an entrepreneur.
It's avoidable. Right?
It is avoidable. It's something that you don't have to stress about. Yeah. But like we talked about before, there's definitely a mindset when it comes to that. And I totally understand that. You have put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, a lot of your own personal money, a lot of your own, just you personally. And it's hard to give some of that over to somebody else because you think it's not their baby. They could not do as good of a job as you can. And I get that. I totally understand that. I try to be I try to communicate very effectively if I can. I want to be your partner. It's not you, it's your books and your business.
Yes. You
have every right to be asking me questions, be in your books. I want you to be in your books. I want you to understand where the dollars are coming from.
Yeah. Yeah.
I want to see you win.
Yeah. And, you mentioned it's a partnership and you want to work with them. But also being your own advocate, right? So when you're working with this partner, a bookkeeper, whoever you're working with, is ask questions.
Absolutely.
Right? Because it's great. You put your trust into the partnership, but you still have the ownership piece, right?
Absolutely.
You still have to take ownership.
Because it's not my business; it's your business. Exactly. And I am human, and I do make mistakes.
Right.
And may put something in the wrong spot, or may not understand. Maybe you've started something new and I don't understand where it's supposed to go or what it's supposed to look like. So you need to be your own advocate in that situation too. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. So we already talked about the two most important things that, an entrepreneur should keep an eye on, which is the money coming in and the money going out. But are there any other key financial metrics that any of us should, keep an eye on?
Like I said, I just think knowing where your money is coming from and knowing where it's going.
Okay,
have your books reconciled on a monthly basis so that you know that they are complete.
Yeah.
Different metrics are different for different industries. Some people, there's going to be common percentages across different industries that, say one of mine is a collision repair center, and a common key performance indicator could be a percentage of you never want to have more than a certain percentage going to payroll, or, maybe it's 30% because across the industry, 30% of your gross revenue is payroll. If you're up to 40 and 50%, maybe you have too many employees. Maybe you have to. So those kind of key performance indicators are actually different across different industries. So it's kind of hard to go into any detail.
Yeah, and again, another important reason to have like a professional looking at your books, because they know what metrics to look at for a particular company, right? Yeah.
Yep.
So, yeah. So when we know the metrics that the two metrics that we talked about, which is what's coming in and what's going out, how can we as business owners really make really good informed decisions based on our financial reports and what we're looking at in our books?
I think the number one important thing is make sure they're timely. Like we said, you need to stay on top of it. If you own a craft business and you need a new piece of equipment, but your books haven't been reconciled or looked at in 7 months, how do you know whether or not you can afford that piece of equipment?
Yep.
So I think that it really is the number one important thing is to be constantly aware of where you stand, and your bank account number may not necessarily be a good indicator.
Okay. Yeah. Right. Oh gosh. Yes. Oh my gosh. For
So,
sure.
it's that same, thing when we were, had our personal bank account and you had checks outstanding or something like that. If you're looking at your bank and not your QuickBooks number, your bank could say 50, but you've got $30,000 worth of outstanding checks out there. And so, it's just really one of those things. Your financial statements are only as good as how up to date are they.
For sure.
You can't go to, and, a lot of times I'll have a business go, I need a loan and I need to go to the bank, and I haven't looked at my books in 6 months, or I haven't done my books in 6 months. And now I have to have somebody look at them and categorize them and do them all right. And can you get it done tomorrow? Because the bank wants this information tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Yeah. It's not that, it's not that quick, and not that I don't want to, but no, it's going to take longer than 24 hours. So your financial statements are only as good as when they were last complete.
Yeah.
You can't get a line of credit. You can't get a loan. You can't refinance your mortgage. If you are self-employed, they're going to want to see your latest income statement and your balance sheet, because it's a little bit more difficult to get a loan when you're self-employed. So they're going to want to see the last tax return and your QuickBooks. Mm-hmm. And if you haven't reconciled them in 2, 3, 4 months, it's hard to refinance your house that way. It's hard to. So those things are just, just a couple of things that I know a lot of times I'll get calls from, potential clients, because they need it and their books are not up to date.
Yeah.
And you cannot make good financial decisions if your financial statements are not timely.
Yeah, for sure. And that's part of the so in my boot camp that recently just wrapped up, one of the modules was dedicated to business planning. And of course, in the business plan, it's all your financial projections and all your financial stuff. And I stressed in there how important it is to set this up correctly from the beginning, because it can affect so many things, from getting loans or making purchases or whatever it is. And yeah, it's so crucial. It's really, really just so important. And so this leads to my next question. I think you just kind of answered this. I was going to ask you what are some of the common accounting mistakes that you've seen and how that can be avoided. And I think maybe that was one of the answers right there, is not keeping it up to date.
Not keeping it up to date. And I think, we talked about how not, maybe not having an accounting degree is important, or a huge, just accounting knowledge. Right. One of the other things that we see sometimes is just not understanding how the software itself works. So, I've had to do cleanups before where somebody uses QuickBooks to invoice their clients, but they don't understand that when, hooking up the bank account, you go in there and you collect it and you say that you collect it, but then they see it come through the bank account and they add it as income again. So now you've duplicated income because you've received the payment on the invoice, but then you've also told whatever. So, QuickBooks that it's income again. So it's not necessarily that you don't understand accounting. It's just that you're not in that software on a daily basis and understand the weird quirks that a particular accounting software can have. And then if you don't reconcile your books, you don't know that you've got all these reconciling items and duplicate items in there. So there's a lot of sometimes cleanup that I have to do, just not because of no accounting knowledge, but just because of not understanding how the software works.
Yeah.
Or, we talked about loans and whether or not a loan is just like you have principal and interest on your mortgage loan. If you've got any other kind of loan, there's principal and interest on it, and that needs to be split out, whether or not that's done on a monthly basis, or some of my clients, I just do it at year end. I grab that whatever truck loan they had or something like that and get what the year-to-date interest was and move that out so that your balance sheet is correct, because your balance sheet should only show what that truck loan amount is. And you want the deduction for interest expense. So those are just kind of some of the common things that I see.
Yeah, those are so important. So we're going to get ready to wrap some things up here, Amy, but I do have one last question for you before we talk about, some little gifts that you have for the community here today. But first of all, I want to say, oh my gosh, hi, Tasha. Tasha joined from Instagram. Tessa. Right. Oh, great. Great to see all of you here on Instagram. And thanks for rolling in. And I so appreciate you being here. And you guys, if you have any questions, remember, we're going to hit your questions up at the end here. If you have to hop off or whatever and you couldn't stand for the whole time, go ahead and pop your questions in and we'll get those answered for you after the live is all done. Okay. So Amy, the last thing that I did want to ask you is, what is one action item that our viewers here today should take after, we've talked about all the things, right? We've talked about some of the common mistakes, what to do for tax time and not be stressed out, how to manage our cash flow in the early stages, all of that, setting up a proper system. What is something that they can take away today and implement, just an action item?
I think one of the things that I would highly encourage is something that we talked about earlier. What do you take a minute, take 30 minutes to go through and determine what it is you charge per hour. If it's $100 for an hour, if it's $500 a project, is it, come up with what do you charge per hour or project, and then determine how much time do you spend on a monthly basis doing your books. Is it 2 hours a week? Is it 4 hours a week? Is it none? Is it, and then go, okay, if I charge $100 an hour and I get in there and it's taking me 4 hours a week to go through and do all of your accounting, that means you're spending basically $400 a week. Times 4. That's $1,600 a month. Could you use that time and that money in a different way? Could you use it to go to another networking group and be networking to build your business? Could you use it to be building your Facebook empire and your social media? Could you use that time, how else could you use that time with your kids? Your kid has a baseball game and you're missing it because you're doing a debit or a credit. It's something that you don't really like to do anyway.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily that you're spending time doing accounting and not working on your business. Are you spending time doing accounting and not working on your family?
Yeah.
Or, just kind of taking that and maybe it's not even your family. If you're single, self-care. Are you working on yourself? Yeah. Are you doing whatever? And so it's going to cost you one way or the other. What is it costing you? And can you delegate that to somebody else that loves numbers, as weird as we are? As weird as we are. I love numbers, so you don't have to. Just kind of think about what are you spending your time on, and what could you be spending your time on? And would it be worth just chatting to someone and seeing, okay, how much is this going to cost me? And is that worth my time?
Oh my gosh.
Because we all did it for time freedom. We all started our own business for time freedom and time flexibility.
Yeah. And how's that?
And if you're spending it on accounting,
yeah,
chances are you didn't become an entrepreneur to be an accountant. So you've got less time than you did before. So, just chat with somebody, whether or not that's me or somebody else in your group, in your networking group. How much would it cost you to delegate that to somebody else?
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
get some of that time back.
Yeah, I mean, you're speaking my love language, because you know that I am the queen of delegation, because I do the VA thing, right? I train VAs, and I help women entrepreneurs, take the busyness out of their day so that they can go do what they love, right? They started their business for a reason, not to do all the minutia, right? So that really, really was an eye opener. I love that you said to go take the 30 minutes, go look at your rate, see what it's costing you to do your own books, right? Oh my goodness gracious. I love it. I love it. Thank you so much, Amy, for
You're so welcome.
Insights. This was amazing. And I know that I am inspired by this to go and actually do this little exercise. And I would inspire all of you to go do this exercise. Take a look at what you got. What are you spending on your books, right? And seeing where, if you can delegate that. Such an important exercise. And you guys, thank you so much for tuning in. And Amy has something special for our community, and I'm going to let her go ahead and let us know what that is.
Yeah. So basically, if you want to chat with me about, a free quote on, doing your bookkeeping on a monthly basis, you can go to my link tree. It is the link tree, and then it's S as in Sam, B as in boy, CPA. And there's a quick 2 or 3 minute questionnaire. It just kind of gives me more information about your business, and how many transactions you have per month, what kind of business entity are you, and then we can have a quick chat about how I can structure something specifically for you. And then anybody that signs up for me for at least a quarterly, a 3-month package, I require everybody to at least use me for 3 months. And if you want to sign up for that, then I would love to gift you with that Profit First book.
Awesome.
It's very eye-opening. And it will set you up. It will set you up from the beginning. I've even actually started using it in my personal life, in my personal bank accounts, because my husband doesn't even know when he gets paid. So, and he has a degree in finance. So, we set it up in our personal, so that we have a bank account that's for fixed expenses, and we have a bank account that's for variable expenses. And Dwayne never looks at the fixed account because he knows he can't spend anything in that. That's where all of our bills come out of. And then he knows I've got this much money to play with on a weekly basis in the variable account for groceries and things. And that's really the gist of what the book talks about, is knowing what you have. But there was like this 2 sentences about how to use it in your personal life. And I took that and ran with it. And it has just completely changed my marriage.
Awesome. Oh my gosh. I don't know if my husband's on today, but he usually does join us on the lives. I don't see him here this morning, but I can't see the comments on StreamYard. But I have to get that book for my husband and I, because
it literally was like this 2-sentence blurb about how you could do it for your personal. And, Dwayne would go in there and he'd look at it and he'd go, oh, there's this amount of money, so I can go play golf. But he didn't know that, in the olden days when the check was still kind of out there, that this bill had to be paid, and this bill had to be paid, and this bill had to be paid. And now he's overdrawn our account. So literally changed the amount of, my stress level just went way down, because I fund the fixed account and I know our bills will get paid, because nothing comes out of that but what our bills are. And then on a weekly basis, money goes into the personal account. And so now Dwayne knows I hid the debit card for the fixed account. He can't even use it. I know. That's how much of a nerd I am.
Hey, you know what? I love your strategy. I love it.
Yeah. And then he has this one, and he knows that account gets funded every Friday. So if he wants to go play golf and there's this much amount of money in it, then he just goes right ahead. But that's also for groceries and gas and the millions of times that my 21-year-old calls me and asks for more money. But it completely, that's why I love it. I think it's hilarious that he says most accountants hate this book. And I'm like, this is genius.
I love it. Genius. Oh my gosh. I'm definitely going to check out that book. That is amazing. And I love the concept of the fixed account and the variable account. And, I have heard that concept before and I just kind of forgot about it, but I'm so glad that you brought this up again today because I need to check that out myself. So thank you for that. Awesome.
Well, I would love to gift, if anybody decides they want to work with me, I'd love to gift that to you.
So. Oh my gosh. Well, thank you so much for that. Thank you for all of your insights today. I so appreciate it. It's so helpful. And it's just so important when, for entrepreneurs, because we're trying to do all the things and it's not always an easy journey, but Amy, thank you. I'm going to be popping all of your information. I'll put your Facebook group and
absolutely
all that in the chat after we hop off the live here. And thank you so much again.
You're welcome.
Great having you. All right. Thanks again. We'll see you soon, Amy.
Bye-bye.
All right. Bye-bye. All right, you guys, that was awesome. Now look at these topics, especially the business finances things. Oh my gosh. I mean, it's, sometimes we just slip it under the rug. We put it on the back burner, whatever you want to say, and we don't want to look at this stuff, but we really have to, right? It's really a important part of our business. We just want to go do the things that we love to do, right? But you know what? We have to keep an eye on these, and that's why it's important to have our partners and our collaborations and things like that. And we did have someone say on Facebook, I can't see your name, but it said, thank you so much, Amy. Yeah, she did an amazing job, and she just gave us such great golden nuggets here. So I so appreciate that. And you guys, thank you so much for tuning in. We're about the top of the hour here. We're a little over an hour. I know we're all busy, but I have a couple of announcements. So I just want to let you know that I am so excited that I have a new VA Mastery series starting next week. It's all about unlocking your virtual assistant potential. So whether you're just starting out or you're looking to scale your VA business, then this series is really going to be, like a go-to resource, and it's going to have real actionable steps toward success. It'll be every Wednesday at 10 a.m. for all of you aspiring virtual assistants out there. So I hope you can join me. And then I have an exciting masterclass coming up. It's March 7th at 7 p.m. Eastern. Again, this is for aspiring VAs who want to break free from the 9-to-5 grind. Anybody who's maybe looking to leverage their organizational administrative skills in a new dynamic way. It could be for moms and caregivers seeking a fulfilling career that fits around their family life. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, I'd love to have you for the masterclass. Comment masterclass below. I will get the link to you. I also have an exciting giveaway coming up. This is really, really cool. Someone out there is going to be winning a free coaching package giveaway. It's valued at $497. It's going to include an 8-week series and all kinds of bonus materials and things like that. So keep an eye out in your feed because the giveaway is going to be starting very soon and it will end March 15th. All right. So keep an eye out for that. And I also have a brand new that's just hot off the press. It's my new free VA starter guide. This is going to have all the tips and tricks in it. It's a free guide. It's a beautifully designed guide that gives you all the steps in starting your VA journey. Alrighty. So if you're interested in that, just comment a guide below and I will get the guide to you. Alrighty. And as usual, we're busy. We have a lot of fun, good things coming up. So keep an eye out here in the collective. I'm just going to continue to serve. That's what I'm here for. If you have any questions at all for our guest or for me, then you know what? Just you let me know, pop it in the comments, and we will get those answered for you. All right. So you guys have an amazing rest of your day. And thank you so much again for tuning in. And I will see you all soon. Bye.